Hey, everybody, welcome to today's podcast. I have some really shocking news for you. And that is that really, with us all being in lockdown here in Washington, there's something that is going on that really has an effect on everybody. And it's been known for a long time, but the information has not been very widespread. And that is that a lot of people out there are gluten intolerant. And what that means is it's much like it's not an allergy where you really get your systems thrown off, but it's intolerant, much like if you get a rash from touching certain plants like poison oak, poison ivy, things like that. And just imagine if you touched this every day and it was inflaming your skin, and imagine that happening to something that you eat. And there's a lot of foods that have this gluten in them and you don't know it. And it's in wheat, barley, rye, oats, all of the grains, and people are getting intolerant to it, and that can inflame your intestines and stop you from getting the nutrition that you need. And I want to introduce you to Dr. Joel Wallach, who's going to tell you a little bit about that something. Let's give a listen.
Well, I want to talk about gluten intolerance today. It was even on one of the network TVs. They had a whole big thing on gluten, and all the movie stars and athletes who were affected by it. And right now, according to, actually it was 2009, according to Mayo Clinic, a big international clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, they said 30 out of 100, just about one-third of Americans are gluten intolerant. Now, we're talking about 115 million Americans, a huge market, 115 million Americans, and you're looking at 30 million baby boomers are gluten intolerant. And then when you look at certain cultural or ethnic groups, the Seventh-day Adventists are 80% gluten intolerant, the Mormons are 80% gluten intolerant, and the Amish are 80% gluten intolerant because they eat so much grain. Now, I urge you to get a hold of my CD called Cereal Killers, spelled C-E-R-I-A-L. It's a contraction of two words, cereal, like C-E-R-E-A-L, the cereal you eat for breakfast, and then cereal, S-E-R-I-A-L, like serial killers, people who kill people every week kind of thing. So once you get a hold of that CD, Serial Killers, once you get a hold of the book Hell's Kitchen, and that'll give you a lot of references, it'll give you a lot of information we just don't have time for in this monologue. But it's a serious problem, and not only do you get from gluten intolerance, it's not an allergy to wheat. When you're gluten intolerant, you're actually sensitive, you're intolerant of wheat, barley, rye, and oat proteins, not in an allergic fashion. You don't get the same biochemical activities that happen when you have an allergy. It's kind of like more like a contact dermatitis when you roll around naked in a patch of poison ivy. You're not allergic to poison ivy, but you sure are going to be intolerant of it. Well, the same thing that happens when you eat gluten from wheat, barley, rye, and oats, or drink it in beer, scotch, and bourbon, or any other alcohol drinks, or any drinks that are made from wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Your intestines are going to look like you've been eating poison ivy for salads. And so a lot of doctors will call this leaky gut syndrome, and a lot of people will get called celiac disease. It'll be called irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, appendicitis, diverticulitis, Crohn's disease, the most severe form, where they want to start amputating chunks of your intestine. They will take out your appendix, they'll take out your gallbladder because of belly pain. Colicky babies have the symptoms. And then secondarily to this, you can get any one of hundreds of diseases that are nutritional deficiency disease, because when your intestines change negatively like this, it reduces your ability to absorb things by as much as 80 to 90%. And you get all these diseases. You might have 25, 30, 40, 50 diseases, all caused by malabsorption of nutrients. Of course, the doctors say, well, you have an autoimmune disease, your body's attacking itself. You have a genetic disease, which is passed on from generation to generation. Of course, gluten intolerance is passed on through women, not through men. It's not a genetic thing, so men don't contribute to passing it on. but they can get it from their mother, either through cord blood or through breast milk. Same way with girls. The girls pass it on because they will expose the embryo to cord blood, of course, and then they expose the embryo or the newborn baby to breast milk. So in either case, they're going to initiate gluten intolerance in the embryo or the newborn baby. So this is something you have to be aware of. So some of the more common symptoms that people get or diseases they get when in the earliest stages of gluten intolerance, we're talking things like, colicky babies. Take the baby off the breast milk and you put them on a formula. Hey, boy, they're happy because they're not getting the gluten through the mother's breast milk anymore. And then they start eating solid food again. Then they start getting belly pain. They don't want to go to school. And you think, oh, the kids, as a teacher being bad to the kid's got belly pain. Mommy, I don't want to go to school. My belly hurts. The doctor takes her appendix out. They get a little older, they'll take their gallbladder out. Get a little older, they want to amputate chunks of their colon and their small bowels. And then you begin to gain weight because you're hungry all the time because you can't absorb minerals. And so you have pica and cribbing and the munchies because you're minerally deficient. And so you start eating more and more and more, and you can't absorb sugar and calories. As a result, it's not unusual for people who have gluten intolerance to be overweight. It's not always, just like always people who are overweight don't get diabetes. Just because you have a gluten intolerance and a malabsorption problem doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get overweight or stay thin. So it could be 50-50. You may have some people in your family who are overweight and some who are very thin, and they all have gluten intolerance. Then asthma is a very common result of gluten intolerance because the large fatty particles, things like essential fatty acids and cholesterol that are necessary to make the prostaglandins to keep your bronchi open, these things cannot be absorbed, and you can't manufacture the prostaglandins properly without the omega-3s, 6s, and 9s, the proper ratios. As a result, you get a high rate of asthma in people who are maybe chronic bronchitis or chronic colds or susceptibility to pneumonia every winter, because during the wintertime you're eating more, waffles and pancakes and toast and oatmeal and that kind of stuff during the wintertime.
Well, there you go. That's it. And there is a list of good foods and bad foods that you should be aware of. Good foods are eggs, butter, and salt. Salt is an essential mineral. You should eat as much salt as your taste buds will let you. Vegetables, fruits, nuts, beans and rice, red meat, not overdone, good poultry, and fish. And of course, grow your own vegetables in a garden and try to get some good wood ash and put it in there. Bad foods, of course, wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Any fried foods, fried in oils. Any oils in a bottle. These things are not good for you. Well done or burnt red meat or any of the favorites that I have, bacon and sausage and all of those good breakfast meats. If they have nitrates or nitrites in them, do not eat them. Crispy skin off the baked potato, and of course, any carbonated drink or soda with your meal will stop your digestive system. It creates carbonic acid when the carbon bubbles mix with the acid in your stomach, and it pulls your pH out of the range that you need to get the nutrients broken down far enough so that you can process your food. Now, of course, if you go to the food pyramid, it will tell you right at the top there to eat lots of grains. It's wrong. It's flat wrong. They know that it's wrong. That's why they changed it now to the food plate, although they still put grains in there. And what they call healthy oils, there are none healthy. There are no healthy oils. It's the food industry and the USDA that has included themselves, allowed the oil manufacturers to include themselves into the food making process, because I'll tell you, there are so many products that are made with vegetable oils as a binder and a base and something that sticks the other things together. It's not good for you. The real future kind of looks a little grim because it looks like we're going in this direction where we have processed food vendors that are going to be processing all the food for us. And with the guise of keeping us safe, we will be removed from the food processing industry, I guess. And it's kind of even a strange thing to articulate, because how can you imagine yourself being so removed that you cannot cook your own food? And I know that is a little bit of a stretch right now, but we're under lockdown, and imaginations have that effect of going, what's the next step? Where could this lead? And how much of that is really possible? And when you get to that point, this is what you're afraid of. You're afraid of being in that emergency room, trying to get something cut out of you that is going to kill you, but it's really part of you. And without the guidance to get you to start right now, and I mean right now, with getting out your glass and pouring in some good, healthy, Mighty 90, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 fatty acids. Actually, the fatty acids are in the EFAs, but I take those too. And you pour yourself some good, healthy, filtered water. And enjoy good health, because just once a day is all it takes to drink a whole lot of goodness with Youngevity products. I like the Healthy Body Start Pak. 2 of those a month will keep you out of the doctor's office, off the table there, and I encourage you right now to go and sign up at youngevity.com.
A strong heart is a happy heart. Your body's systems depend on a healthy cardiovascular system to thrive. Without a healthy heart, you could experience symptoms like fatigue, aches and pains, dizziness, or shortness of breath. Proper nutrition is crucial to your cardiovascular health. Youngevity developed Ultimate EFA Plus with a proprietary balanced blend of essential fatty acids from borage, flax, and fish oils to help make sure you get the nutrients your heart needs. We started with flaxseed oil. It's been shown to improve the elasticity of arteries and support healthy blood pressure. Next, we included cold water fish oils, rich in omega-3s that can promote a healthy cardiovascular system and even increase levels of good HDL cholesterol. Then we added borage oil, known for its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Blended together, these essential fatty acids provide you with the optimal blend of nutrients to help maintain normal cardiovascular health. Ultimate EFA Plus, the right nutrients to improve your heart health naturally. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.